The following message is transmitted at the request of the Chicago Police Department. An unusual situation is happening in the city of Chicago. Local authorities are receiving reports of buildings, vehicles, and even animals displaying the name of the object or animal on its body or structure. Authorities are currently looking into this situation and advise local civilians to be vigilant at this time. Consider monitoring your local media outlet for more information on this strange situation. A local area emergency has been extended to the following counties in Illinois, DuPage, and Will, and in Indiana, Lake, and remains in effect until further notice. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Illinois Emergency Management Agency and Lake County Emergency Management and Communications Center. Every building and animal in the Chicago metropolitan area has been reported to be displaying the name of itself as a word on its body or structure. Also, there have now been several 911 calls of humans beginning to show the name human on their bodies, which has then been reported to lead to death. Although there have only been 10 deaths at this time, all residents within a 60-mile radius of downtown Chicago must be vigilant at this time. If you see someone with the word human displayed on their body, stay as far away from them as possible. Your civil authorities are currently looking into this situation. Continue to monitor your local media outlets for more information on this situation. Civil danger for the state of Illinois and Lake County, Indiana. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Illinois Emergency Management Agency in conjunction with the Federal Emergency Management Agency. As of 7 o'clock this morning, the entire state of Illinois along with northeastern Indiana have become overrun with words displaying on buildings, vehicles, airplanes, automobiles, animals, and even humans. And a human with that as their body display the word human will face certain death, as their body turns into the letters that make up the word human. It was also found that anyone who comes into contact with someone or something that is turned into a word will also face certain death. Due to this event, many buildings have collapsed, including the Willis Tower and the Prudential Building in downtown Chicago. All residents in the warned areas must prepare to shelter in place immediately. To shelter in place, lock all doors and windows, and do not go outside for any reason, as you risk being arrested or may face certain death. Over 600,000 people have already died from this crisis, so all residents must follow these instructions to keep themselves safe. Continue to monitor your local media outlets for more information on this dangerous situation. The following message has been transmitted at the request of the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. All residents in the state of Indiana must now shelter in place as much of northern Indiana has overcome with an epidemic of things turning into words, resulting in many people dying. The death toll is currently 650,000. To shelter in place, lock all doors and windows, and stay indoors, and wait for an all clear. If you are caught outside, you will be arrested and questioned. Continue to monitor media outlets for more information on this developing situation. Civil danger for the state of Indiana. The following message has been transmitted at the request of the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. It has been reported that even when sheltering in place, people have been turning into words and dying. This is an extremely dangerous situation, and there is currently no cure for this transformation. The transformation process is believed to take at least 6 minutes, if not shorter. However, if you start becoming a word, please call your local authorities or 911 before facing certain death, so your death can't be accounted for. In addition, it has been reported that animals are beginning to show human attributes after becoming words, instead of dying like humans, as many animals have begun to talk. These animals have become hostile towards humans, and are biting them, infecting them with a disease that turns humans into words and kills them. At this time, all residents must continue to seek shelter, as the government is still investigating this situation, and a possible solution. Continue to monitor media outlets for more information as this dangerous situation continues to develop. National Information Center Statement. The following message has been transmitted at the request of the United States government in conjunction with the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Please pay attention to this message, as this pertains to a crisis that is ongoing. A strange phenomenon is taking place within the United States. In the several Midwestern states, it has been reported that many buildings, people and animals have been turning into letters that make up words. As people have died from turning into letters, animals have shown signs of anthropomorphism after their bodies show words on them, as many have begun to talk, and these animals have also turned hostile, as they bite humans, to infect them with an unknown disease which kills them, and turns their bodies into letters. Death can also occur from being in contact with anyone or anything that is turned into a word. At this time, the President has declared martial law for several Midwestern states, and the United States government is looking into the situation, with hopes to figure out a possible solution. Stay tuned to local media outlets for more information on this situation.
This is an emergency action notification, requested by the White House. All EAS participants will follow activation procedures in the EAS Operating Handbook for a national level emergency. The President of the United States or one of his representatives will shortly deliver a message over the emergency alert system. Please stand by.
We interrupt our programming. This is a national emergency. Important instructions will follow. This is an emergency action notification. All broadcast stations and cable systems shall transmit this emergency action notification message. This cable system has interrupted its regular programming at the request of the White House to participate in the emergency alert system. During this emergency, most stations will remain on the air providing news and information to the public in assigned areas. This is Xfinity digital cable. We will continue to serve the Washington, D.C. area. If you are not in this local area, you should tune to stations providing news and information for your local area. You are listening to the emergency alert system serving the Washington, D.C. area. Do not use your telephone. The telephone line should be kept open for emergency use. We interrupt our programming at the request of the White House. This is the emergency alert system. All normal programming has been discontinued during this emergency. This is Xfinity digital cable. This cable system will continue furnishing news, official information and instructions for the Washington, D.C. area. If you are not in the Washington, D.C. area, you should tune to stations providing news and information for your area. It is important that you listen carefully to announcements from the station in your local area. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the United States government. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. It has been reported that in several areas across the world, people, animals, and objects are turning into letters, and people are dying from the transformation. In addition, the animals have become human-like, and are now hostile, fighting humans to infect them with an unknown disease that turns them into letters and kills them. This situation has not only happened in half the United States, but also in several other countries around the world as well. This is a particularly grim situation, as many people have been reported to die despite taking safety precautions. As a result, we can only say that you must continue to shelter in place, and gather your family and friends and hope and pray that you will survive. The President and his representative have been taken to an undisclosed location, and will address the nation following this alert. Stand by with this message. This is an emergency action notification. All broadcast stations and cable systems shall transmit this emergency action notification message. This cable system has interrupted its regular programming at the request of the White House to participate in the emergency alert system. During this emergency, most stations will remain on the air providing news and information to the public in assigned areas. This is Xfinity digital cable. We will continue to serve the Washington, D.C. area. If you are not in this local area, you should tune to stations providing news and information for your local area. You are listening to the emergency alert system serving the Washington, D.C. area. Do not use your telephone. The telephone line should be kept open for emergency use. We interrupt our programming at the request of the White House. This is the emergency alert system. All normal programming has been discontinued during this emergency. This is Xfinity digital cable. This cable system will continue furnishing news, official information and instructions for the Washington, D.C. area. If you are not in the Washington, D.C. area, you should tune to stations providing news and information for your area. It is important that you listen carefully to announcements from the station in your local area.
We interrupt our programming at the request of the Prime Minister. This is a national emergency. The following is a message from the Canadian National Public Alerting System.
This is a nationwide alert, with the exception of Alberta and Quebec, who need to provide their own alerts. It has been reported that in several places across the globe, people, animals, and objects are turning into letters, which kills people and turns animals intelligent. The animals have been biting people to infect them with an unknown disease which turn the people into letters and kills them. It is also possible for people and objects to become letters without any particular reason, so there may be no escape. Please continue to shelter in place and hope for an end to this catastrophe. The United Nations is looking into putting a stop to this crisis once and for all. Please stay tuned to your local outlets for further updates.
New
dropped our programming at the request of the United Nations. All normal programming has been discontinued due to an ongoing global crisis. This is an emergency action notification requested by the United Nations to be activated on the global level using emergency alert system technologies. All television, cable, and radio operations across the globe shall broadcast this message. We will shortly deliver a message over the emergency alert system. Please stand by. We interrupt our programming. This is a global emergency. Important instructions will follow. The following message is transmitted at the request of the United Nations. Please listen carefully to this alert, as it pertains to an extinction-level event. The entire world is turning into words and letters, and humans around the world are dying at a rapid rate from intensive transformations into letters. The United Nations has declared that the death toll is numbering into the hundreds of millions. The United Nations has also found that the world's composition is changing to something that is more suitable for another species. It appears that the now highly intelligent animals are the only species capable of surviving in this new composition. In addition, it has finally been discovered that this is happening due to the cancellation of the PBS Kids series, WordWorld, as an unknown force is turning our world into the universe that was seen in the said PBS Kids show, which had no humans. This means that humanity is going extinct. There is nothing we can do to stop this change. It is happening completely out of our control. The entire world as we know it is coming to an end. There is no reason to stay calm. Go into panic mode. Go into panic mode. Do it. Do it. Do it right now. You cannot run. You cannot hide. You cannot scream. You cannot cry. You are going to die. We're all going to die. There is no escape. I repeat, there is no escape. I'm dead serious. You cannot escape. This is your worst nightmare becoming real. You have had dreams about this, and now it's real. You must face the facts of reality, because this is reality, not fiction. There is only one thing you can do, besides committing suicide, and that is, to gather all your loved ones, including family, friends, pets, even your favorite stuffed animals, including those stuffed Care Bear toys you peddled with while watching Care Bear's Adventures in Carolina on CBS a couple of years ago. Call your distanced loved ones to say final goodbyes. Pray to our Lord and Father Jesus Christ, who is the only begotten Son of the only God that has ever existed, and brace for the end. That is the only way you can get into heaven, is through Jesus Christ. The United Nations has selected a quote from religious scriptures to be played on the air during humanity's final moments. For God so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. John 3:16. We will now conclude the final activation of all emergency alert systems with your country's national anthem. This concludes the final activations of the emergency alert system. May God help us all, may God bless you, and may God let you get into heaven.
All clear. I repeat, all clear. The following message is transmitted at the request of the United Nations. As soon as the death toll reached 600 million, the transformation to the WordWorld universe suddenly stopped and everything went back to normal. Even all the buildings that collapsed from turning into letters returning to standing tall. The only difference is that 600 million people are dead, but their bodies are now back together, or at least in several pieces that are not letters. However, the transformation has stopped, and humanity will not be going extinct after all. You all may now exit shelters. We also would like to apologize for the nature of the previous alert, which was due to the alert's writer, a worker for the United Nations, going crazy and deliver messages that weren't supposed to be a part of the message, including most of the religious references and the desperate and analog horror sentences. He also hacked the end to display messages that were not allowed. This person is now in jail. All civilians may now exit shelters. This concludes all operations under the emergency alert system. Your government thanks you for your cooperation.